Hey, what's up, Bakugan fans? It's D Hart. I'm coming at you today as part of the We Want Cards movement. We all know, most of us know that the Bakugan Pro trading card game that goes along with the toys is on hiatus and has been on hiatus for a while now, which super sucks. It's really sad. Honestly, most people have written it off as the game is asleep forever. We don't know what's going to happen. Nevertheless, there are groups of us that still love the Bakugan Pro trading card game and want it to come back, and so we're trying to bring attention and show that there's demand, that people want to buy the cards. So as part of that, I wanted to share a little bit about myself and my story and why I like the Bakugan Pro trading card game while I'm still doing it, how I got into it. So it started with my cousin Wickers, who's in a lot of my videos. For my young son's birthday present, he bought him Bakugan, the toys. I had never heard of it before. I'm a little bit older. I wasn't into it when I was a kid, but I'm a kid at heart and I'm a dad that loves to play games with my kids. And so we opened up the Bakugan toys and cards came with them. There were cards in the toys. This was November of 2020. This is when I got into it, so I'm super late. All the best days of Bakugan Pro trading card game were winding down, were somewhat over. But when I saw that there were cards with these little toys and you roll them and they pop open on a magnet and then you play cards, I thought, this is amazing. Like, this would be so much fun. I love games. I want to play this game. And so I went on YouTube, I went on the internet searching, like, what is the game? How do you play? And so I found videos on YouTube of how to play the trading card game. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's a full-fledged trading card game with this. Now, I haven't played trading card games before. I've been into other things during my life. I got into trading cards super late. Bakugan was the first, 2020. I've looked up a bunch since, but I'm in love with the Bakugan Pro trading card game. And so when I found out there was a full-fledged game, I was like, this is sweet, this is legit. I'm gonna go to the store, I'm gonna buy cards, I'm gonna buy packs. I know where the sections are at Walmart and Target. And so I went, and you can imagine my disappointment in, start of 2021, where Bakugan cards were not in stores. And I was looking, and there was Pokemon, or maybe there wasn't Pokemon, I don't know if they were all sold out at the time. But, Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! But there was no Bakugan Pro trading card game. And I went to store after store where I live, Walmart, Target, there was nothing. There were starter decks still, and so I actually bought, my first starter deck, and then I bought another one so that Wickers and I could play together, my cousin who got me into this, and we started playing with it that way. I saw that you could look online, there were cards online on Amazon. I think I was getting, Armored Elite was on Amazon at the time, but on eBay, I could get Battle Planet. I even got Age of Arliss shipped to me from the UK. Early days of eBay, there were still lots available. So I was just buying up cards like crazy. This was actually the first card that I saw in one of the toys that really got me into it. Like, wait a minute, there's some thinking to this game. Like, this is pretty cool. Cocoon Shield. And so I was like, how do you play? So I spent the next, all of 2021, early 2021, buying cards, having them shipped, opening them up, building decks. It was so much fun. It was so cool. I was so obsessed to discover this. But as I got into it more, I realized, the Discord communities, meeting new friends and new people, like, oh shoot, this game is sleepy. They sort of gave up on this game, and I learned the history, from people that were close to it, what happened and what they think happened. So we're in this situation now where I've still gone and collected tons of cards, all the cards. When Fusion Force was released in Ross stores and TJ Maxx, like, I drove everywhere. I drove all over the Targets in Northern California, and I bought tons and tons of card collections for the Fusion Force packs. So I collected that wave. So I got all the Battle Planet, the Resurgence, the Age of Arliss, the Year 2 stuff with Armored Alliance, Fusion Force, and then we were stuck on Shields of Astroya. And as we all know, recently, Shields of Astroya cards, they were discovered to be sitting in warehouses in California. Like, what the heck is going on with this trading card game? It's so exciting, but it's so sad that this is the state of it. So then they were released later on eBay by random sellers, and so obviously I bought 3 boxes, and I tried to complete my Shield of Astroya collection. Like, I'm a grown man that loves playing this trading card game. Like, I will spend my money to play the game, to collect the cards, to build decks. Even if it has the toys and you gotta spend money on the toys, like, it's so much fun. And I can't wait until my kids get a little bit older to play the trading card game, the pro version. We played a little bit of the kid version, but I gotta be honest, it bores them really quickly. They don't want to stick with it. It's not that fun. But the trading card game is, and it creates longevity. Like I'm a grown man and I still want to play all the time. Granted, I love games, but I want to collect the cards, I want to play. And it's really fun to go to the tournaments. So like I was super excited as I started collecting cards, like, oh my gosh, I want to go play at a local games store. I went to one of them and I asked them, do you guys do Bakugan? He's like, what's that? Can you order Bakugan? He was asking his distributor and no, he couldn't. So there was no way to play competitively, but I found some people close by, my cousin and a few other people, like Flame Breather, who's in my videos too, and some more friends, and we would have, you know, competitive matches. But the dream has always been to go to one of those Bakugan Invitationals, which I realize, you know, they're not doing those. The card game is sleepy. But that would be the coolest thing in the world, is to play this game competitively with friends. Like that's what gets fun, is to just play this game competitively, to have that rush, to try the strategies, to see what other people are trying. Like it's so much fun. I love it so much, in fact, that I've flown to Southern California to tournaments with the other California Bakugan players here that are in our Discord server. And I flew to Texas in 2021 with another friend, Merkenstein, from here in California, so that we could play in Jet Kuso's Bakugan Pro tournament. It was unofficial, obviously, but Merkenstein and I flew out there, we stayed a night, and we played in Jet's tournament, met all kinds of fun people. It was like one of the funnest experiences ever. And that was just an unofficial tournament. Like it's so much fun. And so that's the kind of thing that has kept me going and kept me excited about the Bakugan Pro TCG and kept me wanting to buy cards and buy toys, is to have those fun competitive matches with friends. And so that's my story. I'm still collecting, and what I wanted to do with the rest of this video really quickly is to build a deck, to just give a tutorial, just an idea of how I like to build a deck. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'm gonna go through how to build a simple deck, what kind of cards to pick, where do I start, and then from there, where do we go? All right, so what I typically like to do first when I'm building a deck is look at the Evo cards that I want to use. And obviously I have to know the factions. So I think the factions, I know I want to use Pyrus and Heos because of the B power and core control that they provide. And I'm not sure of my third faction yet. I'm thinking Ventus, because they again have some strong B power cards, and I want to have that be the focus of this simple deck. So as I go through these Evos, these are all the Evos of all the factions. This is my purple binder. I'm going to use Dragonoid Ultra's Evo from Geogon Rising, Secrets of the Geogon. It's a 6 cost for 2000 B, 7 damage. He's going to be cool because the base card comes with 1000 B. It has a Fire Fist and a Green Fist, so I'm going to need to choose another Bakugan teammate in the Heos or Ventus faction that has 2 magic shields, so that Dragonoid Ultra can use one of them and get up to 1650 off the roll, and then Evo up to 2000. So that's 6 cost for 1000 B and 5 damage with a Victor effect of drawing a card. Not bad. So that's my start. So now I know I'm gonna get 3 copies of this Evo, and I need another Bakugan that has 2 magic shields that can share with Dragonoid Ultra. So if I go over to the Heos faction now, I'm gonna see if there's any Evos that I want to play. And I don't think I'm gonna build this deck with 3 copies of 3 Evos for all 3 Bakugan, but maybe I'll just get one more Bakugan that has an Evo. And I actually am thinking of a Bakugan. It's one of the Dragonoids from Bakugan Evolutions that has 2 magic shields, but he's too new and doesn't have an Evo yet. So maybe I won't use that Evo, because it doesn't exist. But here's my yellow binder. These are all the character cards. So I'm gonna find that Heos Dragonoid. It's looking like this is a Dragonoid deck, and that wasn't on purpose, but there's a really good Dragonoid that has 2 magic shields. Where did he go? Wait, I said Dragonoid, but I was so totally wrong. As I'm looking through this, super wrong. It wasn't Dragonoid. It was Nilius, Heos Nilius, 800 B, 5 damage with 2 magic shields. So I'm gonna pair these guys up together. They can both use a magic shield. They'll get up to 1650 and 1450 B. That's gonna be strong. That's okay. But as you saw here too, there's another dual Magic Shield Heos Bakugan that would be incredibly strong. I should probably use him because he's taking the opponent's core. It's Mythic Pegatrix, but I don't want to use this one. He's actually pretty difficult to open off the roll, as I've seen before. So we're going to do Dragonoid Nilius. I'm not going to get an Evo for Nilius because one doesn't exist. So now that I have 2 Bakugan that can use 2 strong cores, I need a 3rd Bakugan that's going to be a B-Power monster because I'm focusing on B-Power. And you know what? I know who it's going to be in the Ventus faction. We have our Pegatrix. Ventus Pegatrix that was crazy strong. And here he is. He was actually in another deck that I had, so I put him back and now I found him. So here he is, and he's 2 Green Fists. So I can do a couple different things as I'm building a deck to have Green Fist specific cards, and that's going to be pretty cool and strong, as well as 2 Bakugan that want to use magic shields. I have a Fire Fist in here in case I need to do a damage wins counter on one of the rolls. So we'll see how it looks when I start building the cards, building the deck, and choosing the chords. But I have this Bakugan that's going to get up to 1750 and 5, Ventus Pegatrix from Bakugan Evolutions. Heos Nilius from Bakugan Evolutions getting up to 1450 and 5. And then Dragonoid Ultra from Geogon Rising, who's going to get up to 1650 and 2 because he can share a magic shield. So this is going to be my buff B-Power team. And I've got my first 3 cards in Dragonoid Ultra's Evo to go. So I'll close these binders up, and now I'm going to pick out their cores really quick. All right, here's what I'm going to do for cores. 2 magic shields, both 650. I don't want to do any gear reduction cores because I want these Bakugan to be at their highest B-Power off the roll. So 1450 and 1650. So 2 magic shields coming with Nilius. And then a Fire Fist for 6 damage. That can be my damage wins play if I need to try to counter it. I'm not going to play damage wins, but if I want to counter it, I know what's going to happen. I'll roll on the Fire Fist on one of these guys. I don't think I'll be using this very often though. It's kind of a filler. And then here are the 3 Green Fists. 1 for Dragonoid Ultra and 2 for Pegatrix. 1, 150 and 2 to get max B-Power. And then 2, 100 B3 damage if I need to try to get a little bit higher for damage. So it shakes out like that. Now I'm gonna look through the binders of cards and try to figure out the most essential. And what I usually do in this stage is I first look at the dual faction binders. Okay, so here's my orange dual faction binder. All the dual faction cards I keep in this right here. So on my team, I do have Ventus and Heos, which is amazing because the biggest B-Power card, one of the biggest, is Moxified Cubbo Beam. This is essential. It's going to be in any deck that you run if you have Ventus Heos, if you're just doing straight B-Power. So because I am doing that, I'm going to do 3 copies of Moxified Cubbo Beam. I love this card if I'm trying to do damage wins and someone's going to do crazy damage on me. Energetic Decay. 1 cost for -5 to reduce the damage that they're going to do. It might help me win a damage wins encounter, or it might just reduce the effect that I'm going to feel when they're hitting me with big damage, because I might just plan on losing some of those rounds. Some of the other cards I like in here for base B-Power, just straight B-Power cards, are Aerial Quake. It's a 3 cost for -800. That's not a terrible trade-off. It's not a terrible ratio. And if you have Trifecta, if your Bakugan have 3 or more Baku cards attached to them, draw 1, so it can be used for card draw. So I think I'm going to use 3 copies of this, but if I find something better to sub it out, I will later. So that's my B-Power. A lot of these other cards are amazing, but right now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to get B-Power cards that I want to keep in these dual factions. I might come back and want to get Subterra Torpedo. I think this one is great for B-Power as well as countering damage wins if you have 6 energy the turn that somebody tries to pull damage wins on you, because you're getting 5 damage, you're taking 5 away from them. That's a 10 damage swing for 6 cost, and if they're playing a Mac that costs 4, it's not terrible. So I think I'll come back and get this card for a gear, but I'm not looking for gears yet. I'm just looking for B power cards right now. So the next faction is Pyrus Heos Duel. Obviously, the best card to focus on here for B power is Pyro Obliterator. Everybody knows this. It's such a staple if you're playing these two factions. So I'm going to grab 3 copies because, again, B power focus. I don't have any rerolls yet because I'm looking for B power, but this card, Pyrus Ascendancy, is really cool because it's a 0 cost reroll, but it still can act as a B power card. So 3 for 700 is better than 3 for 600, which is a base ratio. So this is actually a good card to have. It has utility and it's not a terrible trade-off. So I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna get these cards too, 3 copies to keep going on my B power. Everybody loves this card too, and there's good reason. It's a great gear to have because it's a 5 cost that gives you 500 B and 5 damage. So it's a super strong gear, even if it didn't have the Empower text in the middle. But when you play it, you destroy all your opponent's Evo cards, hero cards, and Baku gear. So this is amazing. It's a gear, it's a Baku Elite, it's sweet. I have all the other copies and decks that I already have built, but this is a strong gear to come back and look at. I'm not going to do flips yet, but I will come back and use some of these flips. Looking for the next faction that works in the dual faction, I have Pyrus and Ventus. They don't really have cheap B power cards, so I don't think I'm going to grab anything here yet, although one of the coolest cards is Burning Bash, and I love to choose core removal cards. Just because that is such a powerful swing in this game if you remove the opponent's core. So 2 costs, remove the enemy Bakugan's Baku core, and you get 4 damage. So if I grabbed like 3 copies of this, 3 copies of Pyrus's Hot Potato, 3 copies of Heos's Consort or Enlightened Focus, I could have total complete core control at a cost. You know, I'm not choosing Bakugan that do it for free, but I'll get the Nanogan that do it for free. But I'll be able to have total core control and still have a bunch of cards that are strong with B power. But that's all I think I'm going to get for now with the dual faction until I come back for flips and maybe some gears. I want to make sure that I get all the other B power cards in the factions that I need. Okay, so here's the Ventus binder. I have 18 cards already, so I'm almost halfway through building this deck. Everybody knows, and I'm going to do it right here too, if I'm building just a base B power deck, that Nature's Power, 1 for -500 for a Ventus Bakugan is what you have to have. It's another one of the best B power cards. If somebody has Shadow Strike, it's going to be difficult to play a lot of these cards, but typically people aren't building decks that are just focused on Shadow Strike. Or they will now because they're seeing how many good cards Shadow Strike counters. Other B power giants in the Ventus faction, something that Heos has and Ventus has, but not Pyrus, is a 1 cost for 300 B. So I'm thinking I could grab 3 copies of G-Force Drop, which also lets me look at the top card of my deck and either put it at the bottom or draw it. So that puts me at, what was that, 18, 24 now, 24 cards. I could keep going like crazy and get 3 copies of Wild Roar, another 1 cost for 300, but I know I want to save some room for some other stuff that's not just generic numbers, right? So I'll keep it at 3 copies of 1 cost -300 so far. And as I keep looking through Ventus, they don't have another card that has a crazy good trade-off for B power, like a 1 for 300. They have a 3 for 600, but that's about as good as it gets in the straight Ventus faction. I do like this card, Vicious Defense, where it's kind of a counter damage and B power, but the numbers are super low. So maybe not the strongest choice, but it's a cool choice. So what I am going to do right now with this first single faction binder, I'm going to grab some gears. I know multi-slash armor is great. I love it. I'm going to grab 3 copies of it. It's a 3 cost for 300 B in 1. When you can get 300 B for the cost of the card, 3, that's really strong. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. 3 copies, beef up my Bakugan a little bit. There's one more gear in here that I think I want to play because I know I feel like I know I have to try to counter damage wins at some point. And that card is going to be Carnivore Claws. So it's a 4 cost from Armored Elite, Armored Alliance. When you play this, choose a Bakugan that gets -5 that turn and it's giving me 5. So it's a 10 damage swing. It's just like the card we were looking at before. The gear, I think I'm gonna grab 3 copies of this. This is like my anti-damage wins the 4th turn when somebody's playing Mac. And since I know I'm not gonna grab any other cards from here for now until I get to flips, I'm gonna move that out of the way. And then I think I'm gonna just go back right now and grab the Subterra Torpedoes. There's only 1 copy, so I'm gonna go get 2 more and have 3. And I'll have 3 gears that are strong, 3 copies each, and they all can help counter damage wins. So how many cards does that put me up to? You know what, that actually puts me up to 33 cards. And at 33 cards, I don't really have room to get anything else other than flips. I usually like to play 6 flips. Maybe that's too many for a lot of people out there, but I do like to have some flips, make the game last a little bit longer. So I'm gonna choose 1 more card. Maybe I'll play 7 flips actually. What to do? You know what? I didn't even go through the Pyrus faction or the Haos faction yet, but because I'm trying to focus so much on B power, and because this is the first iteration, what I think I want to do is this. I want to either get a super fuel so that I can re-roll and play a card for 3 energy less, so get 2 off the price. I could play one of these gears, 2 turns for 2 energy less, a couple turns early. Or if not super fuel, I know that I love, as I'm trying to keep control of cores, especially when I know that Pegatrix needs a green fist and I want to make sure that I always have one. I could get the Haos card that picks up a green fist for 1 cost, or Hot Potato, where I can just take my opponent's core. I think I'm gonna roll with Hot Potato for now. I really love this card. It's one of my favorites, and it feels terrible to have it played against you, so I'm gonna play it against somebody else and make them feel terrible. All right, now for flips. Another really beneficial reason to choose Haos is for the awesome, amazing Confuse flip. You stop a Fire Fist or a Magic Shield for 1. This is like the best flip, a needed flip, one of the best flips. I'm gonna do it 3 copies, so that means I can choose 3 more flips to make 6. And what I'm gonna do for the last 3 flips, I really love this Ventus 3 cost flip here, Ventus Stability. If you flip 3 or more cards this attack, stop non-Ventus and choose a card that was flipped and put it into your hand. So it's a way that you can interact with your discard pile. It's a way to salvage a card that you had flipped and lost and keep it, all while still paying that, typical 3 to stop a non-faction color. So I'm gonna do 3 copies of this, 3 copies of Confuse. I have my 6 flips, and if I choose to change it later, maybe I will. I don't have a way to really stop Ventus, but that's okay with me right now. All right, here's a quick recap of the team in the deck. I've got Bakugan Evolution's Haos Nilius getting up to 1450 and 5 on his Magic Shield. He's sharing another Magic Shield with Dragonoid Ultra, Secrets of the Geogon Rising. Dragonoid Ultra 1650 and 2. And then Pegatrix from Bakugan Evolution's Ventus is going to be 1750 and 5. Not a ton of damage, but I'm happy that we have a 5 and a 5 in here. So that's nice. It's not just B power and no damage at all. So this is going to be fun. And these are the cores that I'm going to sort of, assign to each guy. Then we get into the cards. I have 3 copies of Pyro Ascendancy, a 0 cost reroll. It's the only reroll I have, but I practice rolling a lot, so I'm pretty accurate. And I get to use it for B power if I want to. 3 for 700 is a good trade. So this is an awesome utility card. Happy to have 3 copies. A lot of these B power cards are vanilla, sort of a vanilla deck right here, and I can try to make it more strategic later if I wanted to, but these are super strong B power cards. Moxified Cubbo Beam, 1 for -500. Gonna win those battles with B power. Nature's Power, 1 for -500 for non-Ventus. G-Force Drop is a regular card, 1 for -300, but I get to look at the top card of my deck and keep it there, put it on the bottom if I want to. So 1 cost, B power, Strength. Use as few cards as possible to win the B power so I can use the rest of the energy to play my gears. Pyro Obliterator, 2 for 700, low cost, high B. Aerial Quake is probably the worst trade-off out of all these cards so far, maybe the same as Pyro Ascendancy. But the 3 cost for -800 is just fine, and I get a draw card if I have 3 or more Baku cards attached to them. So I'll use this on the third Bakugan I'm trying to open. I don't have any other shenanigans. I haven't chosen Nanogan yet, so I'll get to those to help me draw cards on Trifecta, but Aerial Quake, 3 copies. Then I have the defensive card, Energetic Decay. This is super strong, keeps me in the game longer, can help counter damage wins. Love this card, 3 copies. The trade-off is enormous. 1 copy of Hot Potato, just for some core control. I love this card. Take the enemy's core. It could be a counter damage wins if they have a +6 Fire Fist, or just to hurt them B-Power and remove it. Keep the core for myself, put it on my side. Steal a Green Fist back or steal my Magic Shield back if I needed to. But 1 copy is not going to be super reliable there, but oh well. And then I have 9 gears, 3 different gears, 3 copies each. Multi-slash armor is great for 3 cost, 300B, 1 damage and 1 defense, or 1 armor. Gonna play that. It's a cheap cost, so I can get it in there. Carnivore Claws and Subterra Torpedo are really great damage wins counters. 10 damage swing when I play this. I get 5, my opponent takes away 5, and then I get 5, my opponent takes away 5. So 4th turn, when they're using Mac, I can try to play this card and get a really good counter in there. And then my other cards are really cheap B-Power cards, will help me win B-Power battles. So like I said, I can afford to have gears that have less B-Power and more damage to try to round out my Bakugan, keep them strong B-Power and damage-wise. So I'll be playing Carnivore Claw, I'll be playing Subterra Torpedo. I'm gonna use 3 copies, but the other 2 copies are in decks I already built, so I'll keep this guy here for show. And then 3 copies of Dragonoid Ultra. I still need to make another one as a proxy. I only found 2 of these diamonds, but this is cool. 6 getting up to 2007, which means at his best, Dragonoid Ultra can get up to, well, it'd be with the Magic Shield, so 2650 and 7. But if I had a gear on him, like, you know, right here, he'd be 3150 and 12. I mean, that's super strong. That's like mid to late game, but that's the slow ramp build up with these Evos to get these Bakugan strong. And then I have 6 flips. The awesome needed Confuse, 1 cost to stop Fire Fist or Magic Shield. That'll stop my opponents that are playing damage wins on me. And then Ventus Stability I think is awesome because I can put cards that I flipped back into my hand and I can stop non-Ventus for a 3 cost. So that's a way to preserve cards in my discard pile. I love this card for that reason. So this is my deck. Pretty vanilla, but can be used much later and traded out to be more strategic. Let me know what you think. This is how I like to go through and build decks. Evos, dual faction, and then B-Power and gears, flips. Do you build similar? What do you think? Let me know what you liked. Let's get out there and show support for the Bakugan trading card game. Hashtag we want cards. Go show some love. Let's hopefully show that there's demand and appetite out there to keep playing this game and maybe Spin Master and get this trading card game in distribution again, huh? That is the goal.